Hello guys, welcome to a track guide of Brands Hatch. This is mid-race with about 27 litres of fuel, so bear that one in mind as we go up towards it. You actually want to look on the left-hand side. You'll see there's multiple signs, but if you can look through the chaos of it, there is a sign on the left that's got 2 red stripes on it, and then the final sign which has got a singular red stripe. You kind of want to brake around about halfway between the two of those, maybe slightly more towards the 2 striped sign. And then, yeah, as you're braking, you kind of be center of the track, going into the corner, brake, and get yourself right down the gears into gear 3. And then you start easing off the brake, trail brake out of it. And you actually want to try and just skim the inside curve quite nicely. Don't touch it too much. If you go over it, it will just throw you off the track and bin you. But you want to use the 2 poles on the right side if they are still there. If they're not, then you just kind of have to gut feel it a little bit. But you want to use the second pole as the acceleration point. So as soon as you get to the second pole, start accelerating out the corner and carry it all the way down. So now you're looking on the left-hand side here, coming into the turn 2. You want to look for the red marker on the wall just before the little Y sign underneath the bridge. As soon as you get to the little orange marker or red, whatever color that is, brake hard, get yourself right down to gear 1. But you want to aim, you want to point the car towards the actual corner. So that as soon as you're going onto the brakes, you're already aiming towards the apex. So you're braking hard, right down the gears, get right down gear 1, trail off the brakes, and then wait for the little orange sign on the left-hand side, on the opposite side of the track. As soon as that orange hits the left post, what's the name of that? Yeah, post? I think it's post. As soon as the orange marker hits the left arm of the car, that's when you want to start accelerating. But you need to be delicate, especially if you're in TC1 or TC2. You do need to be quite progressive with the throttle, just to make sure that you don't lose control at the back end. So as soon as you get to that, start accelerating out the corner. Once you get nicely on it, you can actually get full power. Then look over to the right-hand side. You want to look for the white sign, and then you want to brake just after it a little bit. You don't want to brake too much. Yeah, if you watch here, yes, I go to 100%, but I'm not on it for very long, and I start trailing off immediately and turning in towards the corner. Here, you can use a curb a little bit. Don't use too much, because the left-hand side of that curb will throw your car off. It is very aggressive on the curve there, and it will absolutely destroy your car. At the same time, you also want to use these poles, again, if they are still there. You want to use the third one as your acceleration point to get out the corner. Use all of the exit curve here on the exit, not a problem at all, just don't go too far off that point. Here you want to use there's like a white sign on the right hand side, the very last white sign, and then just behind it there's an orange marker on the wall. Right here, use the orange marker as the braking point. Again, you don't want to brake too hard here. You want to get yourself down. You want to slow the car down. Again, I go to 100%. You want to slow it down so you can get to second gear. But pretty much as soon as you touch second gear, start trailing off the brakes, easy around the corner. And if you look, there's a point here where the road actually, the curb itself on the left starts to bump out, which is easier to see when you're going at speed rather than if I slow it down. So I'm going to play at speed again here. If you look, it like bumps out a little bit. That's your acceleration point. And then you go all the way around. Again, you need to be progressive with the throttle. You cannot afford to lose any unnecessary pace charging out of it. Down the straight, keep yourself right over to the left-hand side. You want to look out for the right-hand side. You want to see there's 2 whiteboards on the left, but then in between them, on the right side, there's an orange marker. Just after that is your braking point. But I think on this lap I broke on it. Yes, I did. Oh, it was very slightly after. Brake. Get yourself down the gears, and you want to, again, down to gear 4. Be progressive off the brakes as well. Trail it off quite nicely. And then it's quite a late acceleration point. You want to use the orange marker that's on the other side of the road, the first one you'll see on the left. When that lines up with the center of your car, if you draw a line straight down the middle of it, that is your acceleration point. So again, get there, power on out. But again, come into the next corner, look for the orange marker on the right side between the 2 Y signs on the left. Use that as your brake marker. Again, you want to brake here, but this is quite a weird one. You again want to go to 100% and then downshift to gear 3, but then you need to trail off very quickly, and then you need to just yeet it over the curb on the right side. And then accelerate as soon as you start, as soon as you get to the apex, which is about halfway on the curb on the right side here. And you want to use as much of the runoff here as you can. You don't want to go completely off onto the gravel, because that will just ruin your lap time, but you do want to carry momentum through there. Now coming through here, you're going up to this awkward right-hander. You actually want to be center of the track here as you come up towards this right-hander. Look for the first first white sign on the right, and then there's another one shortly after that. But in between them, again, there's another orange marker. Use that as your brake point. So you come up to, you want to brake on it, down to gear 3, in the same way you did the previous right-hander. And then you want to trail off it. You can actually use a lot of the curbing on the inside here. I slightly missed it when I do this lap by quite a fair bit. So if you can mount it, do it. But don't go completely over it because it will just launch your car off onto the other side of the road. And you'll definitely have a curb brown. But again, when you get to the curb, as soon as you touch it, that's when you can start accelerating. Power on out of the corner. Look for the final white sign, or if the white sign isn't there, then look for the orange marker where the white sign would be. And then just before that, you want to downshift. So you want to go up to gear 4 in the lead up to this corner. And then you want to brake down to gear 2. Now this corner here is pretty awkward when it comes to acceleration. You need to get it just right. So if you look on the curbing, it fattens out a little bit. And then so it goes from being a thin white curb here to a big thick white and red curb. And then when it starts to thin out again is the point of where you want to start accelerating. So you just as soon as you get onto it, that's when you start accelerating. You can use a little bit of the exit curb here. Again, though, it suddenly just shuts very quickly. So you can't afford to run out too wide and stay out there for too long. It will just cause you to lose a lot of control of the car. Power on out then, come over to the left-hand side. We've only got one more corner to go. You've got the 2 signs on the left-hand side. Again, if they are there. If not, you can use, on the left-hand side, it's going to be quite hard to see, but there is like an orange marker on the left where the red and white barriers start on the left-hand side. Use that as your braking point. That is literally, you either use just before the white sign on the left here, if it's still there, or bang on where the orange marker is on the left-hand side. That's the best way to go. Brake, get yourself down to gear 3, trail off the brake, using the poles again if they are there. You want to use the last one as the acceleration point, and you do want to be pretty progressive on the throttle as well. You do want to get it down as quick as you can, but at the same time, you've got to be careful because if you put it down too hard, you will just lose the rear end. And that is a lap around Brands Hatch. Again, this is not designed to make you a pro overnight. This is not a pro lap time by any stretch of the imagination, but this is to help you guys as beginners get the feel of ACC, especially in the McLaren 720, and actually start to really enjoy racing on a track that's really quite technical like this. If you like what you see, please click the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and tell your friends, tell your family. I'm sure they will all like this too. Thank you all. See you soon.